FlyOver state of film was shot in front of a live studio audience.
All right, so I asked the boys to send that over to me because it's been a while since I've done a spreadsheet, and I love making spreadsheets for the boys. And I put all the top tens and the honorable mentions in a spreadsheet. I gave them values depending on the rankings, and then we created our flyover state of film top five, which we're gonna reveal at the end. We're gonna save that, and there's also only one movie appears in all of our top 10. Maybe you'll deduce it by dimensions, but there's only one common denominator amongst us.
That's what makes this show. You might look at this thing and see 3.5 white guys, but really we're a very diverse group.
The film bro. We're stereotyped as film bros, and we're not.
No, we're bullies.
No, my taste isn't nearly good enough. Do you see how I ragged on all those movies?
Yeah. So we don't want to mention all those 10 movies like in detail. So each of us are gonna mention our 10 through 6. We just mention them out. I'm gonna put up a graphic while you guys mention it, which Joe is gonna make for us. This beautiful graphic with all our lists, so you can hit pause and judge us at your own free will. And then each of us
post that on Twitter too.
We'll post it.
We'll make sure anybody who follows us on Twitter can check that out.
Yeah,
we could run a poll,
and we'll do a poll and see
who has the best list.
Best list, sure, yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
I love losing the polls, guys. It's one of my favorite things.
If we're better.
Never won a poll. Never.
I thought you won most handsome.
No, God no.
And once we reach our
when we run fattest, I'll be in it.
I don't know, man. I'm catching up, man. I'm going.
I'm there.
So once we reach our top 5, then we're actually gonna go deep in. Everybody says they're 5, and then they're 4, 3, and so on and so forth. So, sure. Brian, how about you? I sent all of you guys your list on Twitter just in case you don't remember your top 10s.
No, I got it right here, but I got it right.
How about you read off your 10 through 6 real quick?
All right. We'll just burn these off. Number 10, Step Brothers. Number 9, A Mighty Wind. I do want to caveat that one in saying that I love A Mighty Wind. It's not my favorite Christopher Guest, but it's the only one that came out in the 21st century. The other ones are late 90s.
Best in Show wasn't...
Best in Show's a 99.
Damn, such a good year.
There was a couple 99s I got burned on as I was looking. Number 8, Brothers Solomon. Number 7, the only one that probably could have been on IndieWire's list, Swiss Army Man. Definitely got a dramedy vibe, but it's about a farting corpse. So
yeah, it's hilarious.
And number 6, one that I almost forgot about because I thought it was from the 90s, Super Troopers.
Great.
Yes.
Ooh, I thought that was your number 5.
Oh no, I think I switched it. Did I flip it out?
Yeah, you put Super Troopers.
Ooh no, 5. I might have just botched this whole thing already.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, it's the end of episode.
You're good.
Cancel.
Canceled, Brian. Your number 6.
Super Troopers is number 5, and number 6. I'll talk about it more when it's my time. Number 6 was actually This Is the End.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, great pick.
Oh, great one.
Yes. Joe, your 6 or 10 through 6, please.
Sure. This This was an honorable mention. So I went completely as pure comedies as I possibly can, because just to dodge from the other list. 10, I had to give it to my wife. Not Another Teen Movie. We have a whole episode about it. Long Shot. I love that movie. I think it's really charming and really funny.
That's a recent.
21 Jump Street. I kind of also wanted to encapsulate 22 in that because those movies were so funny.
Mhm.
Hot Tub Time Machine. I just have such a soft spot for that movie.
That's an honorable mention on my list.
Number 6, which could have went higher, but I did some critical thinking. I think between 1 and 5. I Love You, Man.
Nice.
I only saw that once.
I Love You, Man. I Love You, Man. I think it's in my honorable mentions, and
That trickled in with like role models and stuff. There was like a couple Paul Rudd movies that ran together there for me.
It's one of those movies where I go, holy, like at this time I go, oh my god, it's like 10 years old already because it still feels very like fresh and relevant.
I was watching it the other day with my wife. It holds up. I'll do my 10 through 6. I'm gonna leave TJ for the last. My 10 through 6 is number 10 is This Is the End. Number 9, Bridesmaids. Number 8, Anchorman, the first one. Number 7, Wet Hot American Summer. And number 6, 21 Jump Street. Joe and I agree a lot on not the order, but we have a bunch of them similar.
Yeah,
I definitely forgot about the Jump Streets, but I do like those movies a lot.
Yeah,
How about TJ tells me his 10 through 6?
No, I'm ready. Yeah. My number 10 is going to be What We Do in the Shadows.
Great pick.
One of my favorite.
No, that's not your number 10.
Are you going to make me go by the actual list that you gave me?
Yes. This is the one that I use for ranking.
Why did you let me write all these down?
No, you can't change it now because you already put it into the computer.
Yeah. Right, let's go by
it's
my
permanent
number 10.
ink.
My number 10 is an instant classic. Came out in 2011. It's the Adam Sandler starring Adam Sandler movie Jack and Jill.
Yes.
Number 9 is, it's about love, friendship, what you do for your friends when certain issues come in the way of things. I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
Yes.
8, Grown Ups 2.
Yeah.
So we'll leave the rest.
A little
7.
Team Edward.
Now, did this gentleman ever lose it? I don't think so, if you ask me. Some would say so. But The Wrong Missy with David Spade.
That was the worst movie I watched all summer.
Shut the fuck up, Joe. Number 6 is, classic. What do we do with all this room? It's just so many activities, Step Brothers. And yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's a beautiful list. I'm very proud of your list. It's great.
I really want to hear what TJ wrote down.
No, we don't. We don't want to hear it. Brian, give me your number 5 and why. You already spoiled it, but
Yeah, I mean, I already fucked it up, but my number 5 is Super Troopers. Definitely one of the times, like the hardest I can remember laughing in the theater at something. I kind of like got away from seeing comedies in the theater. As I got older, it's like, I don't waste paying money to go to the theater on a comedy. It's not a visual spectacle. What's the point? I'll watch it later.
You guys have a Netflix subscription. Adam Sandler is some of the best comedies you're gonna find.
Oh no! You
QB's
disrespected the segment, TJ. Disgusting.
I tried.
I called it, right, guys, in the DM. I was like, oh, great. So 3 good lists and then TJ's bullshit. Cool. Anyway, but Super Troopers, I didn't know anything about Broken Lizard. I had never seen any of those guys before in anything. I didn't, and they've all gone on to have pretty decent, like kind of under the radar comedy careers where they're not like the biggest stars, but they do still put out consistent work and are popping up in things. And
Jay Chandersky, or I can never say his last name. Chandra Chekar. He's like one of the biggest like sitcom directors out there.
Yeah, he's like he directs a ton of comedy stuff. Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, he had that great role in Jackass 2.
Ooh, Jackass 1 was in my honorable mentions. I don't know. It's a comedy.
I have a good honorable mentions list.
Good, all right.
We'll get to that.
We'll get around to it, I guess. No, the Jackass movies, the whole trilogy could have been on there, and I actually think that's a real missed opportunity for us to not have got it. Nobody put it on there. We failed. I'm sorry. It's not there. Honorable mentions.
So, but yeah, and Super Troopers is also on my honorable mention list too. It's so funny. It's very It's one of those movies that rewards the viewer for watching it again because there's so many jokes packed in that you probably miss one or two jokes because you were laughing at the first one.
Also, comedy Brian Cox too. Like you gotta love a funny get Brian Cox
it's
in
the
a
best
comedy role.
McDonald's.
We got a cola.
Hey,
It's for a
Ursula,
cop.
I'm naked is just a classic.
It's for
I
a
believe
cop.
that when my shit turns purple and smells like rainbow sherbet. Is that the fuck I sound like?
Right.
I also love Daniel von Bargen as the chief of police. One of my wife and I laugh about it all the time when Brian Cox is like, I know we don't like each other, and he goes, I like you. So funny. I love it. I want to do that to somebody so bad. I like you.
Brian or anyone. Is this the only representation of Broken Lizard on these lists?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I am a fan. I do like I like Club Dread a lot. Actually, I think the Slam and Salmon is a very underrated one because they kind of had fallen off the radar by the time that came out.
I like Beer Fest a lot too.
Yeah, Beer Fest is fun.
Beer Fest is fun. Joe, what's your number 5?
Mean Girls.
Nobody had this anywhere.
Oh.
This is like you have two that are.
This is when I get reminded that Joe's a baby.
Yeah, I really wanted to get like some variety in it instead of just like the Judd Apatow lane. And Mean Girls is hysterical, and I think a big through line through a lot of these great comedies is quotability, right?
Well, it's written by Tina Fey, right? So I mean, like legit comedy pedigree. I love Tina Fey. Like I think 30 Rock's the best sitcom or the best, comedy on TV in the last 10 years. So
it pound for pound holds up really well as a comedy too, like Mean Girls. Like it's still really funny. The girls have just great chemistry and the jokes just hit. I absolutely love that movie. And it kind of like a lot of these they age well. Good comedies age well.
Oh yeah, no shame. Actually, I respect this.
Yeah.
I respect the pick.
Yeah, I mean, I've rewatched it a lot. It just wasn't one of those movies that popped into my head. But when I saw it on your list, I was like, yeah, that's a fucking funny movie.
Yeah, it's
no shade, no thesis.
So it was so fetch. The movie's so fetch.
My number 5, What We Do in the Shadows, 2015, Taika Waititi.
That wasn't mentioned.
Jermaine.
No, it was mentioned.
That's because it's up the ladder, baby.
No, he knows what he's doing.
So yeah, that fucking movie is so goddamn good. It's completely different from my other picks in terms of humor. The way that they utilize the documentary style to just, I don't know. It's a mix
right
between.
Up there with This Is Spinal Tap as far as mockumentary. I mean, I have Mighty Wind on my list also. I love a good mockumentary.
Yes,
but
that's what I was gonna say. Like it's amongst the Spinal Tap, the classic mockumentaries, but it feels like it took 2 genres and mixed it 3 genres, which is horror, the mockumentary style, and also comedy, and it just created its own thing that it was so well done. And the spin-off series is so fucking.
The show is much better than it has any right to be.
Yeah.
Is this like one of the first movies that has the series is just as good, if not sometimes better than the movie? Because
I couldn't.
Fargo. I would say Fargo.
Oh, Fargo. But Fargo's Fargo.
Jackie Daytona episode
Jackie Daytona,
is probably the funniest episode ever written on television.
It's like, whoa.
Oh my god,
it's
Jim the Vampire.
Hilarious.
No, that's a really good pick, TJ and Yusuf.
It's also Brian's number 4. If you want.
Yeah, it's my number 4.
Oh, okay.
Cat's out of the bag, guys. We're just gonna go through my top 5 now.
Joe. Actually, TJ has a good pick at number 5. TJ, go ahead. TJ with your 5.
I love you, man.
Yeah. That's good.
Great movie. What's I love you, Bro Namath.
I love you, Broseph.
Thanks, Jobin.
Hurt his feelings, guys. Look at him. He's so sad down there.
All right, on 3. All right, TJ, on 3. Beatles, Stones, go.
Stones.
Rush.
It's from the movie.
I know, but it's honestly the Stones.
It's Rush. But yeah, I Love You, Man.
In that case, it's AC/DC. I don't know.
But what I like about I Love You, Man, and I also have it on I think I have it on my honorable mentions, is that it has so much heart. Like it really explores one of those few topics that are just like bromance, but in a good way. It's not very. There's moments, but it's not sexist or it's like, oh, have you fucked this woman or blah. It's truly just about bonding and just.
Well, I
spending
mean, when
time
they do go
together.
golfing, there is a pretty sexist moment.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
it's not
that's why I
wrong.
said
It's
that. That's why I said
Well,
there's
I
like.
feel like it also delves into a little bit of how weird it is to make friends as grown-ups, as we can all attest. Like, you don't just.
Yeah.
We had to look on the
I Love
internet
You
to
Man
find
was just-
find weirdos that we actually got along with. Like the people that you actually like don't just pop up in your workplace or like come into your sphere of friends every day. Like I've maybe
I
made maybe 2 or 3 real friends since I became an adult, besides the people I met online. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I Love You Man is literally just, it was TJ and I before he moved.
Yep. But then also Joe's the type also on the golf course. It's just like he'll like pick up guys. Not like he'll be just so
Accidentally.
Like,
Wait, hey,
yeah.
nice balls
We
you
always
got
have
there.
more.
Can I wet them? And then like
or
next
try and
thing
fight him. There's a whole different
Yeah.
story to that one, but
Well, Joe's handsome. If he tried to pick me up, I'd probably be kind of into it.
I would try to pick
or
you
the
up.
devil comes
Hey,
out.
had a couple beers in me, I'd be like, all right.
Hey, we're at the club.
All right,
You guys
so
got a lighter?
we
Cigar.
are gonna
Yeah. What's up?
we're gonna skip Brian's number 4 since I already mentioned it, but
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
skip my number 4 because I want to save it for Brian's list since I took Brian's number.
You're gonna let me have
Yeah.
one, have one back.
That was confusing, and I hate math.
Yeah, I'll put a graph and
Do I get my number 4 or
yes, your number 4 ties with my number 2, my number 3. Sorry, so we're good. We can share it now.
cool? Step Brothers, one of the
Mhm.
funniest comedies of. It was really hard between this and Talladega Nights for me. They ranked very
That was
similar.
easy for me. Yeah, nice.
Just but once again, just quotability, like, and a timeless factor of even like the little jokes that I get like later on of like, the Chewbacca mask of like his is movie quality. It wasn't my movie.
It's okay.
And then seeing people, what I love about movies like Step Brothers is seeing people in those movies that are kind of more popular now, like Andrea
Yeah.
Savage and like Kathryn Hahn. Just
That was one of the
killing
first
it.
places I think I saw Adam Scott too. Actually,
Yo, Adam Scott, yeah.
Well, it's
I
even
can't
like
hear
it's
Sweet Child
Even
of Mine
Regal.
without
Rob
thinking of-
Regal.
I think about them driving in the car, all the time.
I
It's
turn
like-
to so many of my friends, or I should say, like Laura's girlfriends, and just go, "You're so fucking flat," and they know what I'm doing. Like, fucking flat.
Well, it's like a lot of it's like those weird like background like after a joke hits, and then it's like when they're showing the houses and they keep doing the shit, but then it's like they have the one couple come in and Brendan's on the floor dying and he's holding him. He's like, no, and the woman's like, I can't see no more dead bodies, and runs out of the house. Like the joke hits, but that
What's
line
going
right
on with
there
her?
nails it. Yeah, it's like
I
I
also
can't see no more dead bodies.
Cannot stress enough how funny Mary Steenburgen going, we heard about the fart. So
No,
fucking funny.
her best line is when they were like animals. They were swinging she tries to separate the fight in the front lawn.
I don't know. He had this crazy look in his eye, and he said, "Let's get it on." I thought he was a rapist.
She's so attractive.
Yeah. Fell in love with her. And Richard Jenkins, honestly, hysterical in
She's
that
on,
movie.
Last Man on Earth. She's so funny
Yeah,
on that too.
He was a lesbian in that.
Yeah, Step Brothers was such an easy I
The-
feel like I built my list around Step Brothers.
Yeah.
Because that when we mentioned like 21st century comedies like Step Brothers, and then I started thinking of others.
It came in at number 10 on my list probably only because I almost forgot it. And then when I had like a couple other things that ended up in my honorable mentions that are like similar, and then once I found Step Brothers, I was like, oh, of course, Step Brothers. And then I was like, it was late in the game, so it just kind of got slotted in at the bottom, I think.
Even TJ that was fucking around with this list, he put it on number 6. And now I can reveal that Step Brothers is literally the only movie on all of our lists. That is the one movie that hit all of our lists.
I mean, I'm a guy who, if anybody watches this goddamn show. I like my 80s, my early 90s, and like the just out of the weird corners of the fucking movie verse type films. When it comes to like 2001 comedies, when you told me, I'm like, like I don't. There's so many fucking movies that just go like this over your head that like you wouldn't even think about, like slapping like the salmon one. I love that fucking movie. Would have never thought about it in a million fucking years. That's like a 1 o'clock in the morning Comedy Central movie.
I
But
love
then I'm like,
the movies on my top 10 list here for 21st Century are so good. But like if I had to make my all-time comedy list,
Yeah.
I don't know how many would make it. You know what I mean? Like,
So, like,
because
it's like,
so much stuff from the 80s and 90s would be on there.
In
I have
90s
like
for me
three
with the
that pop in
comedies.
my head, with Step Brothers is one of them, because it's, again, like Joe said, like it's probably out of all these movies, even though it's all of our lists, it doesn't break into like the top three.
It's in my top three.
Most quotable.
It's in use stuff.
It could be like a lot of these movies were. I had a hard time interchanging, and I was trying to do a little bit of.
It's subjective.
Oh yeah, as you can see, I
Yeah.
mean, I flip-flopped by 5 and 6 and forgot, so that's
Yeah.
how close they were.
I literally sent Yusuf a text last night when I thought of Hot Tub Time Machine at 7, going.
That was
7
good.
was.
That's
when
one of the
7
ones like
was-
this one that just it's funny.
Yeah, it's 7 originally at 40-Year-Old Virgin, and I'm like, no, I have so much representation of that type of movie on this list.
A lot of Apatow.
Let's take it out. But Step Brothers, I think, is a quintessential, and it describes us very well too. Being Step Brothers is the shared movie.
Yeah,
Symmetry.
it's super fucking funny, and I'm
We're
gonna
Step
move
Brothers.
on. I'm gonna move on to my number one,
Wait, what about TJ's number 4?
Brian's number 3,
Oh,
and TJ's number 4. TJ, introduce it.
Oh, I don't know. It's your number one. I feel like you should have the honor for it, and I'll get the respect to having to put this on my list. That's about it. So,
Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz
incredible.
is so fucking perfect of a movie. It's so goddamn good. Like it's the
For the greater good.
quintessential. Like Shaun of the Dead, it really does take a genre and put it on the head, but Hot Fuzz does it so much better. Like it takes. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying for myself, they said I purposely went pure comedies on this. I tried to take as much genre, even the horror comedies or something like that, away from it as I could. Just want to put that out there,
well,
I
that's what
put
makes,
Tucker
I was
and
gonna say
Dale
that
on
makes
this.
sense. That Shaun
Not
of
to
the Dead is
disrespect
like-
Hot Fuzz, I guess.
Yeah, I don't
no.
want to disrespect Hot Fuzz.
Shaun of the Dead is a top Halloween. I mean, it's a great comedy all around. It's a top Halloween, like great zombie spoof. You play like fucking that, then Dawn of the Dead, or
If this list is horror comedies strictly, maybe number 1, maybe
Number
like
one.
top,
But
definitely
so-
top 3.
Yeah, for there being a sequel or a follow up to what Edgar Wright gave us the first time, he just took what. I mean, you go ahead. It's just like the action, the comedy. It's
To reference the Rocketeer episode, it's a great use of Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, oh hell yeah,
Yeah.
he's great in that. It's smart without being too showy, and like I think that was his problem. He got up his own ass a little bit with the next
little.
one, with the
World's
bar
End.
crawl one, where it
Yeah.
was like everything had to be like kind of tied in and like it was like there's a lot of that in Hot Fuzz too, and there's detail in Hot Fuzz, but like it feels like it's still having fun. It doesn't feel like it's I don't know. I just think
there's so many, and also there are, and this is probably almost in all of Wright's movies, but in this one I feel like it shines the best. Like it's not only the script, it's not only the performances, it's also the editing. The way that the editing works, it also punctuates a lot of the jokes, and
he
it
uses
elevates.
that action movie style that he kind
So
of
good. It's
I
so good.
mean-
Honestly, it's one of the best movies I've ever seen, and it's so rewatchable because, like Step Brothers, it's very quotable too. It a lot of moments that you go like, okay, here comes the goose moment, or here comes
I'm
the.
gonna.
Well, he has
There's,
one thing you didn't have. A
I'm
great
gonna
big bushy
reveal-
beard.
Well, he's just even like the stupidest lines where he's like, "You got a mustache." He's like, "Yeah, I know." He's just
Yusuf,
like the
or
stupidest
anyone,
line.
what year did Hot Fuzz come out?
2009?
7?
7?
2007
Okay,
was
so
a good
I'm
year.
actually gonna. So later on in the show, we're gonna talk about movie posters, but one of them actually was. So I picked 3, and one of them was Hot Fuzz. Me and my friend loved Shaun of the Dead. I remember leaving the theater and was the promo poster for Hot Fuzz and seeing, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost on that poster and being like, oh shit, they're in another movie because like
Yeah.
I'm not
absolutely.
hawking movie news.
And that's
like,
I know TJ noted it, but it is he was coming in so
Right.
hot off of Shaun of the Dead that like the expectations were pretty high, and sophomore efforts are notoriously difficult to
Yeah.
land, and he
Yeah.
killed it.
He killed it.
crushed.
So
Murdered.
my list is pretty much depleted except for my number 2. So I'm gonna leave it for Joe's number 1.
oh,
I'm gonna ask Brian, what is
Okay,
your
are we up
number
to my
2?
number
And then
3
we're gonna
now? I
circle
think we're up
back
to my number 3 actually. I haven't done my number. No, number 3 was Hot Fuzz. Sorry.
Hot Fuzz, baby.
So we are at my number 2.
Yeah.
yes.
Does TJ need to do 3 before I do 2?
No, I want to save TJ for last. All
Oh.
his 1 through 3, we can leave it for last. We can talk all amongst ourselves.
Yo, I could talk about Hubie Halloween all night if you want.
Okay, so my number 2 was one that I was legitimately mad about when I was scanning my collection and like looking and trying to figure out, and then I came across it. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I almost didn't put this on the list, and that's why and then it shot up to number 2. That's MacGruber.
Yeah.
I mean, just like
I love that that's represented here.
a pitch
I
perfect
love that you
parody,
love
and actually it's going to share something in common with my number 1 pick, which is like a pitch perfect parody, but also stands alone on its comedy chops. Like you can watch MacGruber never knowing anything about MacGyver, and still it's fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? The base, and I remember the joke in the sketch was kind of one note. So I remember when the movie was coming out being kind of skeptical, but like at the time I was also not aware of what a comedy force of nature Will Forte is, and how like incredibly funny and smart he is, and it was so good.
Just like my comment about Hot Fuzz, the MacGruber stands on the shoulders of fucking Val Kilmer.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a great villain performance, just like Timothy Dalton. I agree.
What I also love about MacGruber is Will Forte.
A team of professional wrestlers. I love that.
Yes, that's what I was going to mention. That they did such a good joke that Deadpool 2 stole it, which is the organizing of the group and then immediately killing them all.
And then he blows them up, and then later when he's talking to Val Kilmer, and Val Kilmer starts being like, well, I had assembled the world's greatest team of assassins, but then I had this hand-packed C4, and I blew it up. And he's like, oh my god, that happened to me too. He's like, no, because I'm not a douche who blows up his own dudes. Well, it's so funny.
It's Will Forte's performance that, guys.
Oh, I mean, there's so much him humping at the gravestone by himself when the guy like sees him humping his ghost wife at the gravestone is so funny. The whole thing with the guy, the guy with the license plate, he's like a psycho about finding the dude with the license plate. That's all hilarious. There's so much good stuff in it. Just the joke of him always taking the cassette deck out of his car whenever he gets out and carrying it in with him, that is incredible.
Guess who used to take the cassette deck out of their car? My mom.
Oh, hell yeah, I bet. We were telling Harrison about how, you remember how the CD player used to just have the front? You would take off the plate. Yeah.
My brother used to have that, for sure. All right, so number 3 for Joe.
All right, so I went with Wet Hot American Summer. I was like,
nice.
I think Yusuf, you had it on your list. Can't think of another movie that even spawned great comedians out of it, but just so funny. I remember as a kid, these girls we knew from I'd say middle schoolish when we were finding weird comedies. These girls we knew, me and my best friend Chris, lent us this movie's VHS tape, and it was like, we don't know what this is. It's not in Blockbuster. And they were eventually could we get it back? We love that movie because we watched it so much. It's so fucking funny, and it just
it's really good.
I know I'm kind of a broken record on all these comments, but it just gets funnier the more I watch these movies.
We just catch more of that. That movie, every from background shots to just the smaller lines that are bigger than the jokes. You catch something different every fucking time.
I watched it a couple months ago after I watched Frasier, and even just watching David Hyde Pierce be the astrophysicist, and after seeing all of Frasier, I'm like, Niles is hysterical.
So good. I love
my wife
the whole
does
bit
those
about them going
things.
into town
Oh.
and having the bender, and then it's like they've only been gone like an hour, but they have like the full on like.
It
Ice
influenced my
cream.
comedy. Like I feel like when we were talking before the show, peel back the curtain a little bit of like recording one day when we get back together, recording a new intro. Like that's the type of bit I'd love to do in the middle of just like, oh my god, they're all just strung out on heroin, and then back to like, wasn't it a great time? Or you know what's
TJ's wrapped around
underrated?
the toilet again.
You know what's an underrated joke in that whole movie? When she goes, "I'm cold," and he's like, "Oh, okay, like give me your flannel," and he immediately goes, "Oh, I need my flannel back." After like not even a minute, it kills me.
That and I was gonna say there's like I think the most underrated bit that people kind of forget about is the whole thing with Molly Shannon and like the kid consoling her, and then they're kind of like in a relationship
so
at the end of it. So funny. I just love Molly Shannon too. Like I think that's what she's one of those like that era of SNL produced some really funny women that like don't get enough attention.
Shout out to Superstar
Rachel Ratch.
Rachel Dratch?
Yeah, Rachel Dratch is hilarious.
Oh yeah, Superstar's a hilarious.
Sherry
O'Terry. But also, I think Anna Gasteyer doesn't get enough.
Anna Gasteyer.
Like, she's such a great straight woman. She's so funny.
So let's push to Joe's number 2 because Brian's number 1 is my number 4 and Joe's number 1 is my number 2.
We don't have to do mine.
No, we're good. We're gonna do it.
We're gonna get there.
We're gonna do it.
We're making great time. Shane.
We're saving the best for last. So
I
Joe,
already
what's your
know.
number 2?
I think I know what Brian's number 1 is. So my number 2, it's a movie I mentioned a ton. It makes me laugh. It's probably the most watched comedy of this decade. Like this decade I've watched. It's Popstar, Never Stop Stopping, The Lonely Island. I listen to the soundtrack. I have the vinyl. Like it kills me.
I'm not gay.
Yeah, not gay. Chicken wings, not gay. But
I've never seen it.
Like fuck Bin Laden. Like but there's once again like
fucking crazy.
There's these layers of jokes of like making fun of all these recent pop stars of the time, but maybe because I still remember when they were like the popular, it just fucking kills me.
Yeah, it's very funny. It's very well constructed, and it plays also with the what Brian's number 1 pick does is like making fun of the biopics that make for
so
especially like Justin Bieber. They really did take a lot from the Justin Bieber Never Stop Talking.
So this isn't in the
love Bieber.
I'll stop talking after this. This isn't in the movie, obviously, but so I saw them live before like pandemic. They did a little tour live, and they had a bit with like I think Akiva writing in his bed, being like, "Oh, the number 1 movie in America for 17 minutes, which grossed blah blah blah," like making fun of their failure of this movie, and it was so fucking funny. Like,
yeah, it's kind of sad that it was a failure because it has gotten like a whole huge cult following. And like people gravitate towards this movie, and kind of similar to what happened to Brian's number 1.
There's a movie none of you have fucking mentioned yet that I'm kind of surprised about that kind of falls in the line with this.
Brian's number 1 pick. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay.
Oh, fucking Walk Hard, man.
I was gonna say I'm waiting for it. I was like,
that's my number 4.
Most rewatchable.
He ain't got no
best performances, best music. The only thing I will say is like the one I do like. I'm glad Popstar got represented because it's like the one thing they don't do is Dewey Cox doesn't do a hip hop album, which is fine. They do have the thing where they sample his song. That's like the bit at the end where that's how he gets famous again.
Oh, yeah.
Some rapper samples Walk Hard, and it's kind of like the.
It's very similar to, reminds me of when Snoop Dogg sampled Riders on the Storm.
Yeah, absolutely. But, like, I mean, this, for me, broke John C. Reilly out as his own. He had been kind of, like, Will Ferrell's second fiddle for a little bit. And then, like, the Walk Hard was where I was like, actually, I think he's the funny one, and Will Ferrell just happens to be more famous. I think the music in it's incredible. I think like the way they represent all the eras, but the songs are not only good songs, but they're funny. That's the thing I didn't mention when I talked about the Almighty Wind. But like when the songs are good, but they're also funny, it's so it hits me just right.
The wrong kid died.
Yeah, wrong kid died is, and I think it holds up as like even though it is a perfect skewering of biopics, even if you've never seen a biopic. Walk Hard will be hilarious. Like you'll be able to.
It-
There's so much funny shit in it.
It kind of ruined like Walk the Line for me because I used to be like,
It
that's a
ruined
great
all biopics
biopic.
for me. I can't watch them anymore.
It's so funny you mentioned John C. Reilly because there's literally crossover 3 times through this list with all of our other topics that are supposed to be. Because I just want to mention John C. Reilly really quick, because it doesn't. So in 2002, he was in 4 of the 5 Best Picture nominated films.
Yeah.
That was the Gangs of New York year, right?
Gangs of New York, Chicago's, The Hours, and The Good Girl.
Wow.
And I just always think that's incredible. And then, like, a few years later, he gets this big comedy breakout.
Yeah, so that was my number 4, and now my number 2, and Joe's number 1. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, okay. Superbad. I can't think of a funnier movie that truly I meet someone and I don't know anyone.
How was Anchorman not on Joe's list?
It was.
I love Anchorman, but it's an honorable mention.
It's an honorable mention.
Wow. Blown away.
I was just really trying to show different representation.
I'm blown away.
I love Anchorman. I don't want to disrespect Anchorman in that, but Superbad reigns one supreme for me. Anchorman probably.
I had
would take 10,
Superbad, and
be honest
Booksmart
with
as like a twofer in my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
And I would probably honestly trade like my 10 for Anchorman, but I want to give Laura some love. So
You deserve it.
But Superbad, I mean,
we
think
already
it's
did an
Daily.
episode for her, Joe. What else? What? Come on, man.
Dude,
Stop
she asks
kissing
for
her
a
ass.
lot. She asks for a lot.
But no, I agree, man. Superbad is, and it's probably because it came out during my senior year. So
It came
was
out like my sophomore year, yeah.
The humor was very tailored to my brain during my first watch.
When I was,
I don't know.
It fucking hit so hard, and it's good on a rewatch. Like I seen on the rewatch, there's a couple of moments where you go like,
Yeah.
but Jonah Hill just rapid fire jokes hit so hard every single time.
Him in the party when he gets the period on his leg and like trying to play that off, and the way he's like, what weird, right? It's so
I love
funny
that.
there.
I love when that scene, that one girl who's dancing with him, he's like, Brad, hide your gun.
you dance hot.
Like, I don't know. It's just something about that movie. Like, I think I say like daily, like when I come home, like, oh no, it's the cops. Like,
oh yeah, Mike Lovin and the cops, Seth Rogen and Bill Hader are so fucking funny in this.
So good.
Performance Plus actually gets funny as the years go on.
Sequence, him drawing all the dicks is also hilarious every time. Like the tiny fat kid with the afro drawing dicks. It's so fucking funny.
Met the wife at paintball.
The one moment that always makes me laugh, doesn't matter how many times I've seen it, and it's one of the most quieter moments. It's literally towards the end, and they're both in their they're gonna sleep.
Yeah.
I was like, we're gonna say, I love when the girl's like, I'm gonna give you the best blow, Jay. Just love how fucking awkward. That's the thing. It's like, I love they truly capture the awkwardness of like early sexual experiences and trying to be sexy as a teen and shit.
Another really good moment of that is when they're like, yeah, we did some crazy things the other night, and it's just them in the basement like trying to chug beers and like watching like Bang Bus.
Yeah. I totally had a buddy's basement where I did those things.
All right, so let's close this topic out with TJ's top 3. TJ, top 3.
Yeah, give me a second. I gotta pull up my list. It's my list. Number 3 is Kevin James classic, The Zookeeper.
Oh, phenomenal! Sylvester Stallone as the gorilla, just phenomenal.
And he's playing a shark in a new movie coming out soon.
Yeah,
he could do it all.
Yeah. Number 2. I don't know if this is okay to say right now. With
not a racist movie, and it's very topical too.
Yeah, Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say LaQuisha.
Dude, come on.
Yeah, not controversial at all to back the IDF right now. Seems like a totally normal thing to normalize for us.
You know,
Number one,
I'll
which
give
probably
Don't Mess
would
with
have been.
Zohan credit. Let me give Don't Mess with Zohan credit. They do use
Nope,
Stallone
nope,
from Entourage as a love
nope,
interest, and more movies should do that.
nope. And this one would have been an honorable mention on my list, no matter what, because I think it's a funny movie, and I like this movie, and it makes me feel good inside. But my number one is Grown Ups. Adam Sandler, Chris
It's a fun
Rock,
movie.
James,
I think
Steve
it's a fun movie.
Buscemi,
I've never seen it.
I'm gonna get
Um,
chocolate
Rob
wasted.
Schneider.
So to really close it out, based on our top tens, I gave them value on depending on the rankings, and then I divided it by 4. Our number 5, What We Do in the Shadows. Number 4, Walk Hard. Number 3, Superbad. Number 2, Step Brothers, and number 1, Hot Fuzz.
Nice.
So that is the FlyOver to the film. Top 5
It
comedies
does-
of the 21st century.
It
I
does
see
seem
him on the
wrong not to
screen
have
right now.
Anchorman on this
Ooh.
list.
If I remember to edit it in, this is here. Look at it.
All right, guys, that was
Dude.
an awesome. I'm glad we did that. It took time, but you know what? It was worth doing.